like bring your story to everyone as well.
Thank you so much, Uma. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so let's just get started on, uh, tell us about your journey of business.
All right. So it's been a journey, really. uh, it there wasn't really a point where I said, okay, I'm gonna convert this into a business. It just so happened. I think for as far back as I can remember, I have loved to paint. Always, since my early days, early childhood, it was always my getaway, my go-to for, you know, running away from studies, or just having that quiet time to myself. And it really worked in my favor always. That was like my nirvana moment, when I would just pick up the paintbrush and just just start painting. And just not painting like any kind of visual art, but it was coloring or drawing or anything like that. So and I was never stuck to any particular medium.
Hmm.
But I would just love to explore, anything to do with creatively handling, a brush or pen in my hand. And that continued. It was always just a part of me, as something that I would do on the side. But then as time passed, I grew up. I was taking part in competitions, art competitions and stuff, which were always going well. But I never really had thought in my wildest dreams that this would end up being my profession at some stage in life. As you know, and as you've mentioned, an MBA, was a qualified financial specialist. I was in the bank, and then again, as we were traveling so much, and as a trailing spouse, I figured that only one of us could have a stable job. So brought me back to the earning, to do something, to express myself, to keep myself occupied in a very kind of purposeful way. And then, of course, I was also managing the kids, which was keeping me busy. So I started with, and all these countries, we've just 9 countries in 20 years. And
Wow, really? Nine
so
countries.
all these, yes, it's been, quite a journey, as I said. So everywhere I was picking up something to do, apart from what was keeping me busy on the housekeeping, homemaking side. So I started with doing kind of party favors and decor, home decor stuff, and I did that for a while. My business was called Favors Forever, and it was registered in Singapore.
Okay.
But a part of me was really just wanting to paint, because that really was my innate passion always. And even though the crafts and the favors were going really well, but I just wanted to get back to painting, and this wasn't giving me the time because it was so time consuming.
Right.
And then we moved again, and I think it takes that shift sometimes, for also a shift in your mindset, in your thought process. And I decided I'm just gonna go back to painting.
Okay.
I did. So, created some paintings, did a little refresher course, and this was in the UK.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I had a freak accident, which we don't have to go in, but the
Okay.
bottom line is that really, again, brought back that sense that I have to do something bigger and beyond what I'm doing. And I have to give this a bigger purpose. So there I was, in my recovery stage, I started painting back again, created some paintings, which went on to a few exhibitions in the UK. So it was very reassuring. All the feedback and all, it was very welcoming, of what I received in response to all my artwork. And then that continued, and the paintings just, I guess the artwork got more serious. And that's when I decided that I'm gonna just take it forward,
Right.
one step at a time, but I'm just gonna take it forward. And then Shopmatic came along the way.
That's wonderful. Right. So what exactly is a business? And I think our viewers know, like,
Okay.
it'll be very important to know, when it's a
Right.
service business, what exactly do you do?
Right.
And then,
Okay.
how do you use online for it?
The core is I'm a visual artist. So, and I do it now full time. So it's a profession for me. And I create paintings. My medium of choice is acrylics. So I paint landscapes and streetscapes on canvas.
And
Apart
your business is called Art by Shikha, right?
Art by Shikha
That's
Vijay,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
Art by Shikha in
Art by
short,
Shikha Vijay.
and then yeah, I mean, it's a lot of inspiration is taken from my travel stories, because obviously we were traveling so much and just not living in those particular countries, but also traveling over and beyond those.
Right.
There's so much to grasp and so much beauty, you know, that
Right.
memories that you come back with. And every time I would just, you know, some image would get stuck in my head, or it could just be, yeah, and of course, pictures, you know, when you go back and look at those pictures, like, I got to paint this, you know, has such fond memories. I still can visualize walking down that lane, you know, or sitting by the harbor there. So those are the kind of things that I started, you know, putting on canvas. And I think they resonated not just with me, but with the viewers as well, with, you know, a potential clientele, because no matter what you are portraying from your point of view, it clicks in a different, you know, way for somebody else. You know, they might look at it at some other memory or something that's striking for them. So I started doing that, and then I also started painting from travel stories from other, you know, friends and family and photographers. So it just carried on like that.
But your business, sorry to sort of interrupt there, but I'm trying to understand. So it's not really the paintings that you sell. You actually have a service business like an art jams, right?
Yes.
So yeah, can you just maybe give us a little bit of an idea
so
of
then
that?
The paintings continued for a while, but what happened, the shift really happened again. All these people, what feedback I was getting was, oh my God, I would love to paint, but you know, as you said, Uma, I don't have a creative bone in me, or you know, oh, this looks beautiful, but I've never picked up a brush, or oh, I used to paint, but you know, in the last 30 years I haven't done it. I don't think I can ever do it again. So I felt that there is this gap where people want to paint, or maybe would like to paint, but don't know where to start, don't know, you know, how to start. They need some kind of guidance, some kind of, you know, facilitation. And that's where the idea of art jams came in. So, and I figured there's nothing to lose. When I started, honestly, I had no idea where this would go. I didn't have a long-term plan. I didn't have, you know, something really laid out in front of me. I just wanted to give it a go.
Right.
And that's what I did. I rolled out my first session. So what it really is, our jams for me, the way I do them, these are 2 to 3 hour sessions where we all come together in a group and paint the same theme, where I guide people step by step into the process.
Okay.
So they come in empty-handed and they walk out with their masterpiece, as what I call it.
Nice.
And literally, it's amazing what people can do, you know, just with a little bit of guidance. Just so I paint along with them. I tell them, you know, exactly what to do at which point, which brush to use. So I think it takes away the uncertainty of, you know, what supplies, do we have the right supplies or not, you know, what the whole investment that goes into getting art supplies together, not knowing whether it is for you or not, you know, because so many times we want to try something, but we don't want to get invested.
Yeah, correct. So you really sort of like help them to do the whole end-to-end solution on that, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, okay.
Exactly.
So all the supplies,
everything's laid out for them. So this was my session A, where, you know, it was just really simple. We said, okay, I just rolled out a flyer, put it on social media, and it was incredible. I mean, it was a full house, and I said, okay, wow, this is great. So, but that's when, you know.
And these are like face to face at that point in time.
Yes, that at that point of time, obviously, this is pre-COVID times. So it was everything was face to face. But I kept it at an 8, so that, you know, it was my first time around. I needed to know how to go about it. And it worked wonders, because I think also I always positioned, and I always believe that my art jams are for de-stressing, detoxing, you know, just getting away again from the rigmarole of life, and just losing yourself in the joy of doing something very different. And that's what the feedback I got. I got such overwhelmingly positive feedback where people were telling me this was incredible. We don't know where the 2 hours went,
Yeah.
We never thought we could do this again.
And very affordable. I mean, I've also seen your flyers, I'm sorry. They're like between like 60, 75, 80 maximum, right? So they're very affordable for like a couple of hours and you walk away with a masterpiece. I think it's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible with all supplies and everything.
Right.
Yeah. With like literally, yeah, great.
Right. Yeah, so that's how it started. And then it just kept on getting, it more and more serious, because then I was always on a roll, like, okay, what next? I was excited on what is the next team I'm going to take out. People were excited to know. What was really reassuring, Uma, was you do one session, you do two sessions, you do a few sessions. It was the return clientele. Because and when the same set of people want to keep coming back to you, for the same thing, a different painting, but they know the process, they know what's entailed, you're doing something right. That obviously there is something that's retaining them, that's calling them back in this process. And that again was very reassuring. So that was endorsement for me right there. So from that day on to this day, I still have clients who wouldn't want to miss any session, and that is just beautiful. That's just very reassuring for me, and I'm so thankful, so grateful for that.
Nice. That's great. I mean, one of the things I picked up when you were talking was the fact that you actually use a lot of Facebook and social media. I think you said you didn't say specifically Facebook, so social media. So how exactly do you drive awareness, and where does this whole online, your website, fit into this entire business process of yours?
Sure, I would say social media works wonders. I mean,
what do you use? Like, I mean, if you can just sort of play with this.
I use Facebook, I use Instagram, and
any chat.
And I use WhatsApp, of course. WhatsApp works great because I have now an Art Jam group, or all the Art Jammers. Everyone who's done my Art Jams, they, if they want to, I put them in that group, and that's where I keep posting, what's coming up next, or what's happening in the art scene with me. So that is something that happens on a very regular basis. And then, of course, once I have a session planned out, I post it first there so that they get the
on your Facebook.
No, I posted on my WhatsApp.
Oh, the WhatsApp group. Okay, that's nice.
With our jammers, so that they get to pick first if they want to join in. And then,
nice.
Yes, and
so
then
it builds loyalty, right?
Exactly, because they're there, and it's not easy to join WhatsApp groups these days. You get bombarded with information, right? So I mean, obviously, if they're there and they're there for me, then I owe this to them. So it gets shared there first, and then after that, I share it on my FB, and then through FB, I share it on quite a few groups. And that I think really works, So I posted it on my art page in FB, but then I share it to quite a few groups within Singapore. And I think that really helps. And of course, what really helps is, again, endorsement from people. When people write their feedback, when people see a post, I have posted on a social group, and they write their, experience with that, with my sessions, and which thankfully has always been positive. So it's always that, somebody's endorsing this, it's got to be good kind of a thing,
Right.
That always, of course, works.
Yeah. I'm just trying to share your Facebook page here. Just let me know if you're able to see it on the screen. Are you seeing it? Not yet? Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go on. So that's about your WhatsApp, and you were saying about Facebook and stuff like that, right? Okay, nice. So this is what you do to sort of like drive awareness for your business.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Messenger, things like that. And how does the whole online thing fit into it? I mean,
so the website plays also a very pivotal role, because especially since I started Art Jams earlier, it was just for passing information, so that knew, okay, my paintings are there. Even then, it was great because I could have everything under one roof. You're sharing it now.
I think we're sharing it now. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, earlier it was okay. Yeah, everybody knows my paintings. I put it in different categories. But now once the art jams came along, it just became so much more relevant, because I could just post all my, themes that I've ever done under one category. So people don't have to scroll through multiple pages of Facebook or, go to Instagram and look for them, because they're all there. And now it's come to the point where people book private sessions going to that, particular category of art jams, which you see here. And they can select any theme, because if it's a private group booking, they can pretty much select any theme from that, group, from that category. And they can book that in with me. So that is the beauty of having it all in under one roof. And the website works great also because, well, I could go on about it. But it really works because now people can actually pay through the website as well. So, I don't want to boast, but there are people who've moved from Singapore to the US, to Dubai, and to India, and who are still logging in, joining into my sessions. And they can now pay through the website. So it provides multi-currency, which is wonderful. So, that is a great feature, which really works in my favor. And then they can just, go on the website, check out from there. And then it gives me the flexibility to also put in virtual and in-person. So every session has a virtual option and an in-person option, and they can do that, and accordingly they just, pay for that. So that's wonderful as well.
Oh, excellent. I mean, this is great to see. I mean, just the whole sheer range of things that you actually have on your website. And once again, I think what's to me really, really interesting is how a service business, because at the end of the day, your art jams you're not selling a product really, right? You are teaching them something, and how you have used your website and to sort of like productize that service, to me is a very, very interesting thing that I observed when I was actually sort of like looking through your website earlier, and I'm sort of like looking at your story, etc., which is why I really wanted to bring you for our session today to sort of like communicate that.
Thank you.
So I think that's fantastic. And one of the things I picked up on was the fact that you actually have these virtual sessions now. I mean, because when you started off,
yes,
you were saying that, I was having face-to-face or 5 people, 8 people, kind of a thing, but you now also offer virtual. So what's that like? How did that come about? I mean, because
I have to, sadly, but I have to thank the pandemic for that.
Okay. One of the very few people, especially business owners, is probably saying that. But yeah.
Quite honestly, I mean, I would never have thought that this is something I can take virtual, because my sessions were always and are always very personable. There is not just people coming together for a random painting session. There are relationships I build out of it. There is a connect, and most of my art jammers are now my friends. So it's building of that relationship and that experience that they get, chit-chatting when we are together in a session. While we are painting, we do a lot of conversations. I walk around, and there's also a certain bit of hand-holding that goes in there, for people who are not comfortable with the brush stroke, just telling them how it goes. So when the pandemic hit, of course, my first thought was, okay, that's it.
How are we going to do this, right?
What am I going to do now?
Yeah, how are we going to do this? Yeah,
how are we going to do this? So, but I said, I got to get this going. There's got to be something we can do. So, and I have to thank my family for that, because they were so supportive, and and having teenage kids really helps, because they're tech savvy and they're like, Mom, you can do it. It's not a big deal. So I got onto Zoom. I did trailer sessions with pretty much all my family.
I think one business which the pandemic really helped
was
Zoom,
God.
right? And here we are running sessions in Zoom, right? Made it like a common word.
Before I put it out, I wanted to, and that's me. I try and test everything before I put it out there. So I did trailer sessions with, I made my friends do Zoom sessions with me, and I made my family do Zoom sessions with me from just sitting in the other room. And I'm like, no, I want to make sure that, there is no glitch. It doesn't just stop in the middle and, things like that. So, and it was working beautifully. So I said, okay, we're going to give it a try. Now, this is, I believe, this first circuit breaker time where we were going to go, shops were going to get closed. So we had about, I think, 4 or 5 days or a week where we knew that, okay, this is going to happen. The government had announced. So I told my art jammers in the group that, listen, if you guys still want to continue, get some supplies now,
Right.
So still now I was giving the supplies. So nobody had anything on them.
Right. Yeah, of course, because it's a complete end-to-end, like you said, right?
The biggest challenge is going to be supplies. Okay?
That's true.
And if the shops are going to get closed, there is no way we can get them.
Can't even get them, yeah.
So I said, you have till like Sunday, go get your supplies. And I made the small list of, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it basic. I don't want everyone to be breaking the bank for this. So just get, simple supplies, and we're going to make them work for us.
Right.
So, and I send out the list, and I'm so grateful that, that's where you really, feel that this is working for you and for other people, because they did go and get supplies, and we had our first virtual session, which was again incredible. I got in a lot of extra supplies. So what happened was, people who were in the surrounding areas, when I posted the first virtual session on social media, and there were people contacting me that, oh, but what about supplies? We don't know where to go. And I'm like, okay, I can make a little kit for you, and we can make something, we can make it work with, some kind of social distancing and whatever, or you come before this date and get it from me.
Correct.
So things like that. And so that really well. I remember my first virtual session was, again, I think it was a very, very encouraging response. And then all those people in the first virtual session said, can we do this again tomorrow? So I had another theme the next day. I remember this was a weekend, Saturday, Sunday kind of a thing. And it just created that cycle of, it working for me, working for people, working for me in the sense of it was de-stressing for me, like obviously the pandemic has hit all of us in some way or the other.
Sure.
And I'm so grateful that I had this for myself also, because it really kept me going, kept me thinking all the time. I was able to see people, meet people virtually. And this was still the time we were getting used to masks. So this was my time when I could be mask free, talk to people, smile, on the camera, and we were still having those conversations. We were painting and we were discussing. At times we were discussing recipes, because everybody was so cooped up, and everybody just wanted to let go. I had a lot of working folk join in who never had the time before, but now they had the time, and more so the inclination, because again, it was tough on everyone. Working from home now has become a normal. It really wasn't when it all started.
Right.
And there were times that, just everybody wanted to do something different, when you're not able to step out, when you're not able to meet friends, socialize, go to restaurants. There's got to be something that gets you to disconnect.
Yeah.
So I think this is
that's amazing, right? Because again, I think it's very inspiring to see how a business owner can just quickly, well, not quickly maybe, but certainly look at whatever the situation is and pivot, right? And just change the model a little bit and still make the concept of whatever the business is work, and really use the tools that are available. And I'm not just saying only the website as such, right? Like other sort of like technology that is actually available to them, like Zoom, and then lean more on things like social media, etc., to sort of pivot the business, change the model, and still continue to run the business. And I think in your case, and again, I'm sort of like feeding back off what you are saying, right? Not only did you manage to keep the business going by sort of like moving it virtual, I'm hearing you say things like, I expanded the business because suddenly you were saying, I had customers who couldn't obviously be in a physical class with me in Dubai or from the US or wherever, or Hong Kong, wherever your students had sort of like traveled or moved away, but because virtual suddenly opened up.
Absolutely. Oh yes.
Them to be able to come back again, right?
And then it was
And
No,
then,
it's
I mean, sorry. So, I mean, that to me, that was like a really, really interesting bit. And the fact that you also opened up not just people who are not physically there, but then people who could not earlier join physical sessions, working people suddenly also could, access you. And, then you just sort of like added new customer segments by changing your model. So it's not just keeping it going, but actually expanding it. To me, that was that's very, very interesting. Of
yes.
how one can go virtual, and online and e-commerce, and how all of them just sort of like plays together to do it. So that's great. That's great. Sorry, you were saying something, and I was just like
No,
sort
no,
of
no.
like
I was just saying that,
my
yes, I
thoughts.
mean, from doing one session a week, it went to like 4 sessions a week. And that's
Wow.
the fun of doing virtual, because, there was no,
So it's
there,
like
there was not
quadruple the business, not just double the
yeah,
business, quadruple the
quite honest,
business.
that didn't happen every week, but yes, there were times that did happen.
I said it's like, yeah, but you're right? Because what you could do once, you could now do multiple
Yeah,
times. So yeah.
absolutely. But there was such a huge learning involved in this. I mean, not just with technology, but how to make things work for other people. Because I would send, and I still do for virtual sessions, because we're still having virtual sessions where people are so comfortable, they don't want to go back to in person.
Correct.
And now I have both happening, in person and
Right.
virtual. But for the virtuals, I always now, and that began with the pandemic, would send them a set of, the setup, like this is what you need, this is what it should look like, these brushes, these paints, all this. Sometimes I had to send a tracing for a particular painting if it's going to be complicated. And that was the challenge, because many people didn't have a carbon paper, for example. So there was
Okay.
no way to get a carbon paper.
When was the last time we ever had a carbon paper? My God, I can't think of it.
Yeah. So then, and usually I would give them the tracing in the session, in the in-person session, but now we couldn't. So I had to devise ways. So I made recordings for, okay, how to trace without a carbon paper. And I would make a recording and send it to the people who are signed in for that session. Then I made
your whole business process changed, right?
Absolutely. Then I made another recording on how to trace directly from a laptop screen, even if you don't have
paper
a
on the screen.
Yeah. So such a huge learning and such a huge realization that it is possible. I mean, you can make it work. You just have to keep thinking out of the box, and you have to make things happen for you. And it did work. I mean, I'm just, again, very, very grateful.
Nice. It's really, really fantastic to hear that. So all right, just okay. I don't know who that is, but doesn't matter. Let's just say Shopmatic post. We were talking about Facebook and WhatsApp and stuff, and I see them actually on your website. I see these little icons there, which is very interesting. So how does this help you? These tools here.
Yes, hugely, because I think any traffic that comes to my website, so it's both ways. When I post on my social media, I always mention my website. So even if it's for an RJAM session or any other thing, in my write-up, there's always my website link as well.
Okay.
So that, I mean, I'm hoping does drive people to the website, but then
absolutely, it's about driving traffic, right?
Right. But then people can message me directly from there, and I have both the Messenger and the WhatsApp, and they can choose to message wherever they'd like. So I do get a considerable amount of traffic from people who I don't know, and I'm presuming they would have gotten the link from the website or social media, and it works great, because then especially in WhatsApp, because I'm almost constantly on WhatsApp, so I can reply immediately. And it's really easy to keep updated, and
it's in your hand, right?
It's in my
device. It's in your hand all the time.
Unfortunately so. But yeah, I mean, honestly, whenever anyone says or whenever my my family says that you're always on the phone, I'm like, I'm working.
What a great excuse now.
But that's another thing, it's very difficult to disconnect when it's your own, like your own baby who you're constantly,
nurturing it and
nurturing. So I just feel that I always need to be on top of things, or I always need to just check if anything's happened. So
nice. Okay, so this whole thing of it's constantly in your hand. reminds me of something. And again, I just want to sort of like touch upon again, like what are the kind of things that you have leveraged by, having a website, etc. So if I were to say, like, tell me 3 things that you believe as either features or services that you have found on Shopmatic, which has actually helped you to do the, like sort of enabled you in moving everything online and actually sort of like making it an e-commerce business. If I were to ask you, tell me 3 things that you like.
Sure. I think A is definitely the multi-currency, because again, it is only because of that I'm able to take payments in USD or in other currencies in dirhams, because it is available and it's just very easy. I think the payment interface is very easy for people to navigate through. So so I never get questions asked that, I'm stuck at this step, or how
you're talking about this multi-currency here on the top, right?
Yes,
okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay,
so
nice.
That really works great.
Nice.
And I have had quite a few new clients just go to the website and pay directly from there, and even in Singapore, because Pay Now of course work great and everything, but sometimes I think when people don't know you or don't know your business that well, they just feel that it's more, I would say, authentic.
Nice.
A lot more professional, that there is a website and you can actually pay through that, and it's kind of more accountable. People feel that there is more accountability there. So that works great. Number 2, of course, is the fact that I can easily navigate through my own website, change things around, keep adding, so it's very user friendly. The interface is very user friendly, and I feel even a little change, I don't have to. It took me a while to get there, but I did. And now I find it really easy, and it's not time consuming at all. So that works great. And again, the interface between social media and the website, that the messenger and the chat feature and all that. So those work great.
Nice.
You can also do links with Facebook Shop and things like that.
Oh, nice. You use that. Nice. Very nice. Okay.
So,
do you use our app? I mean, have you downloaded the app and used that?
I have.
You should. I think it's a great companion app.
It's very neat, actually. Yes, it's really nice. The whole website in your palm, kind of.
Yeah.
I like that. And again, it has all these features, and it's really useful, because now I can send links directly from the app.
That's
like
right.
If I have to send link of a particular RJAM, then I don't have to copy paste it, go to the web browser and copy paste it from there. I just directly press on the share icon there, and then I can directly WhatsApp it or send it through Messenger right from the app.
Fabulous. Yeah, I mean, we're delighted you're using those features, because that's absolutely, the need of the hour, and something which really increases the productivity for the business owner, right? And small business owners are juggling so many things. And so that's very neat that you're using those. Great. Okay. So I'm just here, and I was just checking out your multi-currency, and it's fabulous to see how it all sort of like displays. Oh, there we go. So Shikha, I wanted to ask you. 2020 is behind us. I mean, it's a pandemic. It was certainly a year to forget for many people, I think. But in your case, it's something that you're actually thankful for, as you said, because it's helped you in ways differently than maybe in a general sense. But 2021 is a brand new year, and there's a lot more sort of like things that one can do. Just wanted to ask you, what's in the future as you see it? What are you hoping to do, achieve? And how are you hoping that online e-commerce is going to help you in 2021?
Well, if 2020 is anything to go by, the first thing is don't make long-term plans.
Okay.
But
so I think let's spin it. Be agile, be nimble.
No, I mean, but that being said, I think the key is adaptability. The key is to know that you're always ready. Be always ready for change, and take it in your stride. I mean, try and make it work in your favor is what I have, tried to do. I think, again, going forward, there's a lot happening, a lot of revamping, restructuring that I'm doing, that I'm in the process of doing. I am entering corporates, corporate team buildings and corporate events. Again, the same approach, jamming. I have just started as an external art coach for one of the major international schools. So that's another segment in there. So a lot of kids work also happened during the pandemic, and the adult art jam was only one aspect, but the children, because again, they were cooped up at home. So that really boomeranged, and that really was an incredible response. And that took a virtual,
spin to it as well.
And worked great. I really hadn't imagined that it would, so all these, what you see now are virtual sessions. During the pandemic. And again, just gathering all my focus into all the things that I've learned in the last year and how I can pivot them, move forward in this year. Hopefully, of course, my art jams will keep going on, and all the people who are so loyal and love those art jams. I mean, I'm again very thankful for them. A lot of new clientele coming along, so that is great. As I said, corporates, kids, schools, so. Lots of things. I don't have a timeline. I will just take it as it comes.
I think that's great, right? I mean, that's great advice. I think again, the idea is when we get too tied to a plan, then we are not able to adapt. And when we don't adapt, then there is always a risk of, just becoming obsolete or being taken over, right? Kind of a thing. So I like that advice. And I think it's very, very important for small business owners to continuously look at opportunities in crises or hardships, right? Because there's always a way to sort of like find a way around things. And so great advice.
Thank you.
Okay. Really, that brings us to the end of the session. Really, I want to keep some time for you to be able to speak to, or take some questions from our participants as well. Why don't we just sort of like quickly tackle some of the queries if there are any Q&As. I see there is one in the Q&A there. Oh, okay, someone's requested us to do this in Hindi. We should have seen this a little earlier. We could have done this in Hindi as well.
Sorry.
My Hindi sucks, but yours I'm sure is just fantastic. Sorry about that, Roshan.
A bit late in the day for that. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So if there are any other questions, please keep them coming. And we'll sort of like have Shikha to answer them for you. So Shikha, any sort of like what's in your horizon? If I were to say just the next quarter, what are the things that are keeping you busy?
Okay, so
we are almost in the middle of this quarter.
Art jams always keep you. I mean, some the kind of thing I do, they always keep you on a roll. So I'm always thinking, okay, what's the next event? What's the next festival? What's the next? Easter's coming. Okay, I got to. What am I doing for Easter? What am I doing?
Very topical. Yeah.
So you have to keep always thinking, because it's a lost opportunity. If that event is gone, Easter's gone, and I do something after Easter, it's not relevant at all. I'm not gonna have kids paint eggs the day after Easter, because it doesn't mean anything. Right? So it's always on the roll. And again, I think the next quarter I am definitely gathering my energy and hoping to enter. And I have already done a few sessions with some corporates. So so getting there, getting little more formal approach, getting my kits ready. So again, those are they're taking both virtual and in-person forms. So I have to get my entire act together for especially the virtual sessions. So that's in the making. That's very exciting. I think what I want to do is go more global. So right now I do have people joining in from different parts, but again, obviously Singapore is the main market. Where virtually the whole idea is that there is no boundary.